this was obviously our best effort and our best performance of all the games, preseason and regular season. We had some uneven effort in the first couple of games. Guys were aware of it. They knew the caliber of opponent today, and they just decided that they were going to, be the hardest playing team in the gym. And it was a great process, and obviously the result took care of itself. So we're fortunate that Leonard didn't play. I mean, that's obviously a big hit for them from a personnel standpoint, but just real proud of the way we responded to two really subpar games.
All right, Tim McMahon.
Rick, what goes through your mind when you look at the scoreboard and you're up 50 at halftime?
Well, we've got to, part of it, I talked to the team at halftime about it, is, we've got to establish a standard for ourselves just in terms of the level of collective force that we're going to play with and how consistent we're going to be. The first couple games, we didn't have that. At halftime, even with a huge margin, there was still an edge there, and we just got to maintain it. And look, it's an NBA season. There's going to be ups and downs. You're not always going to be at your best. But how you compete is something that, you wear. That's a badge that you wear every single game you play. And, today, our guys didn't allow each other to let down. And that's how it's going to have to be. This is a very unusual year. There's no crowds in the buildings. And so a lot of the impetus and the desire, has got to come from within from teams. And I'll give our guys credit. We had a very good practice yesterday. It was a practice that, been on the road, away from families over Christmas, all that kind of stuff. On paper, it looks like kind of a walkthrough day, but we taped up and we had a live segment where we finally came to the realization that defensively doing things the hard way is the only way if you're going to be successful. And that's what started us out good. And look, Clippers didn't have a great night. That's obvious, but we had something to do with it.
All right, Brad.
Yeah, Rick, among the many things that went right today, Luka and Richardson both scored 13 points in the first quarter. According to your PR staff, that's first time that's happened to Mavericks in 20 years. Can you just want to ask you about how they're clicking at this point? Seems to be pretty smooth.
It's good. Look, they have an affinity for each other. They respect each other as players. There's chemistry that's building each game. Look, I don't think they would tell you that the stats mean anything to them in terms of, two guys scoring 13 points in a quarter. I mean, none of that stuff should matter. But, in your world, it's a tangible example of chemistry. And so, great, we'll roll with it, but Jay Rich has given us a really unique element. He has a leadership presence. He has a calming presence, on a team that can be emotional at times. And yet he's a tenacious competitor, and, he takes challenges defensively. And so, look, we love him. We really do. And really happy to have him with us.
Okay, Krista.
Hello, Coach. Congratulations on the win. I would like to ask you, this game tonight, can you call it as the perfect game for the Dallas Mavericks? And how difficult is the next day after that game for you?
The next what?
The next day, the next practice.
Well, the next practice is going to be not tomorrow, but the next day. And, we just talked a little bit about that. We'll get home this evening, a little later on, obviously. And tomorrow's an off day. We have not had an off day since it was a week ago today. And we usually go no longer than 4 or 5 days at the most without taking a full day off. Just, you need a a mental recharge. You need to clear your head and get away from the game, you know. So this has been a tough stretch, you know, 2 national TV games, you know, a lot of attention, a lot of focus, that kind of stuff. So tomorrow, everybody should clear their heads. We come back in with that'll be Tuesday. We need to have a good practice and get ready for Charlotte. Charlotte's a dangerous team. They got a bunch of guys that can run around and make shots. They play with a lot of offensive energy, and they're gritty on defense too. So, you know, we got to try to get our record even back up, and it ain't going to be easy.
All right, the last one is for Beth Harris from AP. Beth, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Rick. I mean, when you're up like that by 50 at halftime, what do you tell your team? I mean, and most teams will make a comeback in the second half, but you guys didn't even allow that, really.
Yeah. Look, it's a long season, and look, 50-point leads at halftime, you know, are once in 2 decades in this league. They just don't have them very often. So we got to look at things big picture wise. First of all, we had 24 minutes left to play in the game. The second thing is the challenge of maintaining that level of competitiveness. And the third thing is, you know, this in the first half, our guys established a standard for collective toughness and will that we need to find a way to maintain. And they need to find a way to hold each other accountable to maintain it. And the coaching staff's part of it too, but we're family, you know, and we've got to keep each other accountable. As I just mentioned to Tim, I mean, it's such a unique year with no fans in the buildings. You know, in a sense, it's like there's no home games really, other than the fact that you may not be traveling. And you got a little ambient noise going on, you know, from the sound system. So, you know, the teams that can find it within themselves, you know, to really compete on a really consistent basis are going to have the best chance of success.
Thanks, Rick.